On Overdrive today, we take you through the various engine options in the newly launched Maruti Suzuki Grand Vitara and tell you whether the Hyundai Venue N-Line model is as sporty to drive as the height suggested. Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I am Soini Dutt. The Grand Vitara nameplate has made a comeback in the Indian market with a new crossover that shares its underpinnings with the S-Cross. But does that make it a hotchpotch product, or is it really a product that deserves the name tag? Rohit finds out.
This is the new Maruti Suzuki Grand Vitara, the crossover that most of you have been waiting for. So what you get is bolder styling and a more trendy design with the DRLs in the brow and the headlights in the bumper. At the rear, the sleek streak of LED taillights echo a bit of a Porsche Cayenne, Range Rover Velar inspiration, and these, coupled with the tastefully done Grand Vitara badging, make the tail appear premium like the rest of the car. The side profile shows off a longish front overhang that misbalances what could have been a nice two-box SUV-inspired design. While the shape of the wheel arches and the 2600mm wheelbase is similar to the international S-Cross, the bodywork designed in India for the Grand Vitara not only lends it a more SUV-like form, but also gives it marginally larger dimensions. Compared to the cars like the Creta, Seltos, or even Maruti Suzuki's own Brezza, the window line is actually lower. You can also see it from the outside, and subsequently even the dashboard line is lower. So the smallish disadvantage to that is that you do not get that commanding view of the road or a very tallish view of the road as you would in a typical high-riding crossover or SUV. Now, the very car-like feeling, the very easy ingress and egress were two of the biggest draws of the S-Cross, and those will remain big draws even for the Grand Vitara. Once inside the cabin, you will notice familiar Maruti Suzuki elements in the switchgear and steering wheel. Going with the overall theme, the dashboard has a grid-like layout which maximizes space, and depending on the variant you choose, you get a choice of all black or maroon on black combinations. At this price point, you don't really expect scratchy plastics. Yeah, there are a few soft touch panels. You expect more of them in this cabin on the more common touch points. So that is a bit of a downer, yes, but at the same time, we've seen a lot of Maruti Suzuki cars get these kind of scratchy plastics, but they withstand the test of time because they are quite nicely put together. And I hope the same with the Grand Vitara as well. The 7-inch infotainment is now familiar too and gets wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto capabilities, a few connected tech features for tracking and fencing, and the ability to install certain apps. Low and mid-level trims get 2-port instrumentation with a 4-inch multi-info display that's very similar to other Maruti cars like the Baleno for example, while the range topper gets a fully digital instrumentation that has a very Toyota layout to it. There is a heads-up display too. The front seats are quite accommodating even for larger passengers, and the upholstery is the most premium quality that Maruti Suzuki has ever used. The ventilation function, which is only available on the front seats, works well but is quite noisy. Even the rear seats are quite accommodating, wide, tall and pretty upright, even in their slightly more reclined position. But comfort-wise, I don't see any problems here. I have no complaints. I get a lot of foot space. As far as headroom goes, no problem at all for my height of 5 feet 8. 6-footers might feel a bit too claustrophobic, especially if you get the top-end variant which has this big panoramic sunroof. Because of the sunroof, the roof liner or the headliner sits a little bit lower. And a little bit of trivia, apart from the export Baleno, this is the only other Maruti Suzuki car to get a 3-point seat belt for the center passenger. The bigger concern, however, is the boot space. Only 373 litres for the mild hybrid variants, which is comparable to sub-4 meter crossovers, or 265 litres for the strong hybrid variant, which is lesser than even a Baleno. And that is because, like most ICE-derived hybrids, the battery pack sits behind the rear seat, eating into the boot space. The hybrid also hides the spare wheel beneath the car, while the smart hybrid plonks it in the boot floor. Now, this is one space or segment where we've seen most players offer a variety of powertrain options, and Maruti Suzuki and Toyota together have followed suit. There are quite a few powertrain configurations on offer, everything from naturally aspirated engines, two-wheel drive configurations, all-wheel drive, mild hybrid, strong hybrid, you name it and it's there, apart from a diesel of course. Anyway, so the 1.5 litre petrol from Maruti Suzuki, the K series, now that is the absolute baseline that you can buy. You can specify it with a 5-speed manual or with a 6-speed torque converter automatic. So this engine, the power output, it does feel quite humble compared to its rivals, and it shows. To enjoy this car, you really have to drive in a very calm and composed manner. You will usually find yourself driving in the 2000 to 3000 RPM mark. That's both in the city as well as out on the highway. And those figures are consistent for the manual as well as the automatic. Pulling overtakes at city or highway speeds often needs a downshift. More so if you are traveling with a full house. The 6-speed torque converter automatic does its job quite well in the city or on the highway, and its convenience is hard to ignore. But it isn't the quickest of gearboxes and often makes a downshift only after the engine falls out of the power band. So the paddle shifters certainly help if you need to take manual control to pull quick overtakes or engage better engine braking. The 5-speed manual has long throws and a long clutch pedal travel. And the clutch pedal, though light, has a vague bite point which needs getting used to, especially if you are scaling inclines with a full load.
Well, the Grand Vitara happens to tackle off-road sections with as much ease as it tackles tarmac. Stay with us after this very short break to find out more. You're watching Overdrive.